In the dim corners of the human mind, there lies a chamber few dare to enter, a place where reason trembles and imagination bleeds. It is here that Edgar Allan Poe built his kingdom, not of beauty or light, but of shadows. And in those shadows he found truth. Poe's world was not about ghosts or ravens, but about the delicate machinery of the soul. He wrote not of monsters lurking in the dark, but of the monsters within us: guilt, obsession, loss, and madness disguised as love. He looked into the mirror of consciousness and saw it crack. And through that crack he glimpsed eternity, fragile, infinite, and terrifying. To understand Poe is to confront the question that still haunts every thinking being. How much can the soul endure before it breaks? What is the true weight of consciousness, and can it be borne without falling into madness? The birth of darkness. Poe was not born into horror. He was born into fragility, a life marked by loss, by absence, by silence. His parents died before his memories could hold their faces. He was raised by a man who taught him literature, but not love, words, but not warmth. From that emptiness, Poe learned the first law of the soul, that suffering is not always loud. It can whisper, softly, persistently, until it becomes your only companion. As he grew, he saw what the world called civilization, men in elegant coats hiding decay behind manners, cities growing taller while their morals grew thin. And he realized that horror did not belong to cemeteries. It lived in drawing rooms, behind polite smiles and trembling hands. He merely wrote what others refused to see. The mind as a labyrinth. Poe's genius was not invention, it was observation. He understood that the mind was not a temple, but a labyrinth. Every corridor led deeper into doubt. Every locked door hid another fear. He was among the first to write about the unconscious, before psychology had a name for it. Before Freud, before Jung, there was Poe, tracing the architecture of guilt and the architecture of dreams. He knew that reason could become a weapon against itself, that clarity could dissolve into obsession. His characters, the murderer in The Telltale Heart, the scholar haunted by the raven, the lover digging into graves, were not villains. They were reflections, pieces of ourselves in moments of unbearable truth. He didn't invent madness, he revealed it. He showed that insanity is not chaos, it's clarity turned against its master. The art of beautiful despair. In Poe's writing, sadness becomes sacred. Each word is carved with the precision of a confession. He made sorrow beautiful, not because he loved pain, but because he refused to lie about it. He wrote of loss not as tragedy, but as truth.
For him, death was not the end, it was the measure of love. In Annabel Lee, he speaks of a love stronger than the angel's envy, a love so pure it must be destroyed by the heavens themselves. To Poe, beauty and death were lovers, inseparable, because what makes something beautiful is its transience. The rose fades, the star falls, the heart stops, and in that moment the world becomes painfully, brutally real. That was his gospel, that life only becomes meaningful when you confront its fragility. He believed that art must come from suffering, and that the soul must bleed to be alive. For what is joy without contrast? What is beauty without decay? I-4. The Descent into the Abyss. But Poe did not write from the outside. He lived what he described. Every poem, every story was a descent, not into imagination, but into his own fractures. He loved deeply, perhaps too deeply. His wife, Virginia, was both muse and martyr, dying slowly in front of him, her cough echoing like the ticking of a clock counting down his sanity. As she faded, he turned to the only thing that never betrayed him, the page. But even words have limits. His nights became drenched in laudanum and wine, his mind flickering between lucidity and nightmare. He felt his own reason slipping, and instead of resisting, he studied the fall, documenting it like a scientist of despair. He understood what few do, that madness is not the loss of the mind, but its overexposure. When you see too much, feel too deeply, remember too vividly, you begin to fracture under the weight of awareness. Poe bore that weight until it crushed him. I-5. The Mirror of Guilt. In The Black Cat, Poe reveals one of his deepest insights, that guilt is the most powerful ghost of all. It does not haunt houses, it haunts thought. It hides in the rhythm of your heartbeat, in the tremor of your hands, in the silence between breaths. He showed that the true horror of sin is not punishment, it is memory. Because guilt, once born, does not die. It becomes a voice, a faint heartbeat under every word you speak. And that voice whispers, you cannot escape yourself. That is the essence of Poe's terror, not the supernatural, but the unbearably natural. He did not invent fear. He held up a mirror and said, "This is you when you stop pretending." I-6. The Shadow Called Love. Poe's love stories are graveyards, but within them burns something more powerful than romance, the hunger for union with the impossible. He saw love as a wound that never heals. To love for him was to die a little every day, to lose part of yourself in the memory of what cannot return. When he wrote The Raven, it was not about a bird or a poem. It was about grief speaking to itself. Nevermore was the echo of consciousness realizing its own loneliness. It was not despair, it was truth. that the soul's greatest curse is its memory, and that every nevermore we utter is a farewell to the parts of ourselves we've lost forever. I-7, the philosopher of fear. Beneath the melancholy, Poe was not a pessimist. He was a realist of emotion. He believed that fear is not weakness, but wisdom. That to be afraid is to be alive, because fear sharpens the mind and reveals the boundaries of the soul. He wrote that the greatest terror is not death, but awareness, the realization that our sanity hangs by a thread, that we are not the masters of our minds, but guests within them. He turned horror